Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Sign. Shamelessly displaying my state of mind, but you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine.
I'm feeling some kind of way today, y'all. I am excited. I am empowered. I am uplifted. But most importantly, thank God I am here, right? Heck, oh boy, let me tell you something. It's a great day in the neighborhood. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and I, like I say, wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world except maybe Fiji, than here right now with all of you, in the promise that where two or more come together is being fulfilled as we speak, right? So excited. We're here. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. We're working our way through the week, almost to the weekend. What are your plans? I'd like to know. I'm here all weekend alone. The other half is in Michigan visiting my in-laws, and our niece is having her high school graduation open house this weekend. But I have to be in rehearsals. Oh, let me tell you, yesterday I was in rehearsals. So I have this process, right? Because you guys know, oh, let me go up here. Gratitude is the word of the day. Gratitude is the word of the day. So you guys know, and I'm pleased send prayer, light, and loves. We had a lot of prayers we need to send out today. There's a sick kitten in the house, not our house, but the guest that we have today. Christopher RAUSCH, we have him here, and he's nursing some kittens. One is healthy, but one is in the room with him. So we're gonna send some healing light today. Are y'all ready for that? I just want to say that I'm so excited. Tomorrow, it'll be a week from tomorrow, we leave for Las Vegas. I'm so excited for the Star Trek convention. going to be hosting a VIP party in the penthouse of the Rio on Friday night. You all can come if you like. I have it on my page. If you'd like to attend and join us, I can get you some tickets. If you want to go to the Star Trek events, we can get you 50% off on all of that as well. And then Saturday, going to be doing a presentation, a keynote, if you will, at Club Piranha. It's a two-tier thing. It's almost like if you're at picture Mardi Gras with all the people above like looking down and hanging over. I'm really excited about it. So we were in rehearsals yesterday getting everything ready. And boy, those of you out there that are influencers, or when you go into that space where what is greater than just takes over, almost like Iron Man, you just it moves through you and not from you, which is one of my mantras. I got the intention pen sitting over there with that inscribed in it. But anyway, send lots of love, lots of prayers. We want to impact people, change some lives, and have our own life poured into and changed at the same time. Can I get an amen? Okay, that's the bell of purpose, what it means. Oh, I got one more thank you really quick. Yesterday in the mail, now I had seen it online and everything, but I actually got the hard copy of this yesterday. Take a look. Yes, Heart of Hollywood magazine, and it is absolutely, they even have those little cologne things and stuff inside. I always love those. I may not read the magazine, but I'm going to tear out some CK1. I'll tell you that. But look at this. It's just really beautiful, really great ads. See that? Look at that, right? And then you get to the back. There it is. I am so excited. Okay, there. Bathrobe Moments, Show Me Your Soul. That is the theme of our show for this year. On the back cover, next issue, we are back here on the actual back. So God is good all the time. And all the time, what? You said it. God is good. Hold on. Ethel, take that baby somewhere else. Jeez. There she is right there. Look at her tail. She's in. What are you doing? Okay. Well, keep it down, would you? You want to come on the show today? Come here. Oh. You want to come on? No, now she got stage fright. So anyway, plus I can't pick her big ass up. Treats. They think treats is the only thing they should eat in this house. I told them both last night, Ethel and Lucy, keep this up, you will be getting jobs. And I'm not playing. That stuff is not cheap, right? So anyway, say good morning if you could. Welcome to the show as always. My sidekick, this is she, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, been with me all 6 years of this show. And back to that waffle coffee. And it doesn't taste like waffles, but it's all mindset, right? So who do we have here today? Who is he? He is, well, get ready. If you have any small children, or if you're in the midst of a prayer meeting or sewing circle, you might want to change the channel. Why? Because Christopher Rausch is debatedly the world's most effective and impactful, unstoppable, no excuses coach. He's a speaker, workshop facilitator, and a retreat leader whose life apprenticeship of the victim to victor is nothing short of miraculous and surely inspiring. Now, what's he do today? He's an international keynote speaker, and he captivates and enthralls audiences with his story and then empowers them to accept what life has presented, embrace change, and take action, personally and professionally. And there's a whole bunch more that goes in there, but like they say in the hood, I can show you better than I can tell you. So that's what we're going to have to do. And we're going to get him in here. So this is the first timer, y'all, on your P's and Q's. Get your manners in place. But I'm putting the soap away, so no one's going to get their mouth washed out today. In other words, we going to be cussing. Hell yeah. So anyway, there it is. Remember the old days when I had Bathrobe Moments After Dark with Charles Maddox? We'd be drinking and cussing up there, but then we started passing out during the show. We had to cancel that mug. That was just too much. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, we'd have been sitting up in there eating gummies or something, right? So I ain't ashamed. Look, it's legal here. Oh, don't be judging. So there it is. It's legal in Illinois. Now what, right? It took me a while to get used to that, though. I'm serious. I used to tape my stuff underneath the bumper and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, that was the day. That was back in the days. So you guys, listen, I want you to, right now, let's get this party started. As I bring Chris in here, Christopher, I hope I can call him Chris. He's a big guy, and I just took it upon myself to nickname him Chris. So Listen, this is a no excuses coach, right? If you have any excuses, to thine own self be true. Be honest, be vulnerable, be open, be honest, be transparent. If you have something you're struggling with and you constantly find yourself making excuses for why you won't make change or why you won't make a decision, then get ready to ask the no excuses coach what to do to quit using excuses, right? Okay, there it is. Because I'm going to tell you something. Last thing, and then I'm getting them in here. Everybody, you've seen a lot of things. You go, oh, you said the Shift magazine cover. Oh, just a shameless plug. There it is, Shift magazine cover. This has been a big month for me. But you know what? The reason is I don't have excuses. This morning, I said my PT was here yesterday. And when he comes, he stays for dinner when he does my leg. And I'm always going to bed late when he's here every Tuesday night. So I got to go to the gym at 4 this morning. I couldn't do it. Had a little hangover, a little bit one. Went right back to bed. But no excuses, because look, I already know. I put a sign right up here. I owe myself 60 extra push-ups today because I broke a covenant with myself. So I don't let that go. I forgive myself and I do better. Chris is going to help us with that today. So you guys put your hearts into this conversation today. It's for you. This is a two-way feed, so don't stay on mute. I know I don't see on the screen where it says Helen Keller is here, so everybody should be able to talk. Get your questions out there and let's get it going. Here he comes, everybody. Put some hearts on the screen. The No Excuses coach, potty mouth himself, Christopher Roach. Shit, I had to get started. There.
What's up, Rockstar?
Yeah, right. I'm probably a Motown legend if I was going to be, considered a rock star. I'm so old. I'm 59. How old are you, Chris?
I'm 32.
You're 32?
Do I look older?
No, you
don't hurt my feelings. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 52.
You are?
I'm damn proud of it. Yeah.
I hear you.
75 hard, baby. 75 hard.
You look great.
Thank you. I've been busting my ass. I take care of myself. And I party hard. So I want to do bathroom. When you bring bathrobe moments back at night, I want to do that because I'll bring my pen and I'll bring my my drink and we'll have a great time.
Bathrobe Moments After Dark.
Hell yeah.
People keep asking me about that, but I'm like, man, it was just once a week. But I wanted that to be a show with a host, and Charles started producing more movies and stuff and had to dip out. So I was like, I'm doing this by myself. When I find the host, I'll bring Bathrobe Moments After Dark back. So maybe we could be on the both sides of the magazine. Bathrobe Moments back here, and then we'll put Bathrobe Moments After Dark.
There you go. There you go. I had a show. I started a show last year during COVID, at the start of COVID, just to keep people inspired. And I called it Friday Night Live, basically like Saturday Night Live. But I just wanted to bring spirit.
I saw that.
Yeah. So we used to have drinks, and it was like Friday night, bring your drinks, bring your conversation. We had guests for a while, and then we just kind of just like freeballed it and just was like, all right, let's just have, just me and you, my buddy Scott. And we started doing that. We just did it for COVID. We just did it to bring, light to everybody and bring motivation and bring conversation to them. And then we were kind of like talking about it, like, okay, what do we want to do with this? And that's when we changed it to the Unfiltered experience and said, let's do more. Let's raise more awareness. Let's talk about social issues and stuff like that. So yeah, we went from drinking and partying to talking about social issues. It was fun. It's great.
I have a little gadget here. It tells me how many words you spoke in that passage.
Yeah.
That was 713 words and half of a syllable. So, hi, Chloe.
This is Chloe. She's the healthy one.
She's so cute.
She's amazing. Now,
I'm only saying that because you really put some words in there. You're good. If this thing here doesn't work out for you, you might want to go to auctioneer school.
I know. I tend to talk fast because I'm so passionate about what I talk about. So yeah,
I'm the same way.
You could hold up the pump the brake sign, and I'll slow down.
This isn't a pump. This is a fart machine.
Oh really?
Well,
you've got a fart machine. I've got a
bullshit detected. Take precautions.
There you go. See,
I got a bullshit machine. I got a bullshit button.
Right. I messed up one time a couple months ago. One of my guests, she was sitting there talking about. I was talking about what I made for dinner. She goes, "Oh, it sounds good." And I saw the picture on Facebook, but I can't eat it because I'm lactose intolerant. And my elbow hit this thing right when she was talking about lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And I was like, And this was not one of those guests where she's like, I can take anything. No. And I was, I had to cover it by going, oh, sorry, excuse me. But anyway.
You should have just said, "Man, this is a nice show. You shouldn't do that."
I kind of did. I did blame her. I was like, girl, But look, I'm loving your set. I want you to tell everybody, Christopher, who you are, where you're at in the world. Tell us about your family. Just a little backstory. How you got from here? Where'd you start? I don't think it was in the hills of Beverly Hills. You don't look like you went to prep school, but you may have. And then after that, as a footnote, tell us if this is, do you color this or does it actually grow that way?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I've never had anybody really ask me that question on screen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, this is very strategic. I probably most of it is like here. So I do a little touch here and just a little touch on the mustache. But so this is all good. So, but I mean, I have a 5-year-old son, so I don't want my son sitting there saying like my dad's old. I'm like on a mission to stay young.
You bring your grandpa to school today?
Yeah, no.
I like your grandpa.
Yeah, no.
Chris, this unapologetic, no excuses, hard ass. We love it. I noticed you. Oh, because I have one too. I was gonna wear it. I think I will. I saw in one of your pictures you had this. Are you a veteran?
No.
You could have been.
Yes. Except I didn't want to cut my hair when my friends went into the Marines and the Army, and they're like, yeah, you got to cut your hair and people spit on you and yell at you. And I went, yeah, no. I've had enough of that from my mom. I'm not going to go in and do it purposely.
I'm gonna rock this look.
There you go.
You gave me the idea.
Hell yeah.
You had a hat and you had a bandana. I said, oh, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Tell us about Christopher.
Sure. First of all, it's an honor to be on your show. I love it. I love the concept. I love what you're about. So thank you. I'm sure this is going to be an energetic conversation, but in a nutshell, let's see the good stuff. I live here in Southern California. Yay.
Riverside, early for you.
Yeah, it's a little bit early for me. Not too bad.
Okay.
I live here in Southern California, born and raised. And I live here with my wife and my son, who is going to be 5 years old. He's going on about 15 mentally, which is beautiful. So yeah, I created a great life out here, and I'm known as the no excuses coach. So I help people overcome their self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit.
Yeah.
And my story prior to that, in a nutshell, was that I was a former 7th grade homeless dropout who lived in the back seat of a station wagon with 18 cats and 2 dogs. That's not a joke. And a mother with various psychological and chemical dependencies. And for those 4 years, from 13 to 17, I was on the streets. I lived in abandoned vans. I lived in garages. I dug through dumpsters for food and for aluminum cans. I tried to commit suicide twice. Unfortunately, I sucked at it. I had a gun put to my head. My brain's almost blown out. I got almost carjacked, and the stories go on and on and on. And it wasn't until—
And that's just the good shit.
That's just the good shit. That's just the 4 years. That's the made for TV movie part. And then there's all sorts of accoutrements throughout my journey that I've grown and learned from.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You obviously didn't get the memo. There's a little rule here.
Sure.
And this is your warning. Consider yourself being warned. You can't use words with more than 6 letters in it.
Words with more than 6 letters.
Because I got to sound it out and shit when I'm trying to
count that high.
Huh?
I can't count that high.
Well, you just used a big word.
I did.
Didn't he? Did you guys hear it?
What I
don't remember what it
was.
What? Okay.
Aliodocious or something like that?
No, right. See,
Yeah.
I know, but see, I'm kidding. I always make that joke because that's one of the things I'm working through. I have a new coach that's working with me on systems within my brand. And this is no lie. And I want you to talk about this. It's a great way to get started about how you help people. I did not know this about myself. Now I coach and have been coaching for years. And I'm one of those accountability people. Go to my page and look under coaching. 10 red X's first. If you aren't willing to this, that, and the other, then keep it moving. If you then you probably shouldn't even call me. Right. All that. But then all the stuff that I tell people, when he gave me my first assignment, it involved an Excel spreadsheet. I went to type in some stuff, and then it went way across the thing. And I was like, well, how do you squeeze it into that one? I couldn't figure out. I got upset. I started getting mad. Then I was crying. Next thing you know, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I go to bed and didn't get up till the next morning. I had not done that since I was in the heat, the middle of a drug addiction, which was 14 years, when I used to, you end up in the hotel room ready to kill yourself. And I got up and I said, what the world? What was that? And it was because my excuse was I didn't have any way to reach people for help. It just threw me that something so simplistic I didn't know. But What did I do after getting up and all that? I signed up with the local community college for an online class in Excel. So you see what I'm saying? Because if you don't like something about yourself or something in your world, change it. So talk about that. And because, well, first of all, why no excuses? You know, what did you bring from your all that backstory? Because trauma never travels alone. There's always a sidecar, a blessing that's born into becoming when those things happen. So how did all that trauma craft you, hone you, groom you into this person?
Because I chose to look at each opportunity as something that was happening for me and not to me. And that was later in life. So first I was a victim. First I was a victim to my situation. I was a victim to the circumstances that I was in because I did not know I had the ability to choose differently. So it wasn't until the point where I became 17 years old and after all the stuff that I had been through, it logically occurred to me that when I was looking after I had the gun put to my head and almost had my brains blown out, I looked around at this motel we were staying in and the cops were there and the prostitutes. I mean, it was just something out of a movie, you know, something you really see in a movie. And I looked around and I thought, okay, there are a couple of opportunities here for me to get out of this place. And I've already been homeless for 4 years. I'd already been with my mom for up to that point, 13 years of psychological and physical abuse. And so I started looking around and I took stock of the situation. I went, well, I could stay here and hope, wish, and pray something changes. Or I'm going to wind up going to jail pretty much, or I'm going to wind up dead. Or I could take responsibility and accountability for my actions and get the hell out of the situation that's not conducive to my longevity, right?
No, but wouldn't that have involved leaving your mother behind?
Yes.
That's a toughie.
Oh, dude, it was one of the most gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, toughest decisions I ever had to make. But ultimately I had to do that. Like I said, I was going to go to jail or I was going to be dead. So here's what
17 and you'd been with your mom. You guys were like a mother, son, Thelma and Louise. And then you tell her, Mom, I can't do this.
Yeah, it was Thelma and Louise is a good analogy in a way, but it was so not a mother and son relationship. It wasn't a caretaking situation. So it was pretty much me taking care of her. Right. So it was a very codependent situation. Even at probably about 14 and a half, 15 years old, I started getting 2 jobs. I started working. My mom started doing weird stuff like working for a drug dealer while simultaneously being an informant to the Anaheim Police Department. It was craziness. So ultimately I had to decide, and we even won the lottery. My mom won $5,000 while we were homeless in that motel. And we could have got an apartment. We could have got me back in school. We could have got clothes, but my mom would never give up on her cats. Her cats and her animals were number 1 in her life. I was about number 3 or number 4 if I was that lucky. So what I had to do is I finally had to make that decision. And I realized that she was not going to change. So the situation, if it was going to change, I was going to have to change. And I didn't know about codependency. Bless you. I didn't know about any of that stuff, but I knew I had to survive. And so that's from that point forward, you talk about no excuses. All my life, I didn't have any excuses. I got bullied. I got beat. I got, all sorts of different things. And so I just had to survive. So there was no excuse on how to survive. If I had to run into somebody's house because I was being chased and lock myself in a bathroom room, I did that. I was being chased, bullies. I did whatever I had to do to survive. I did whatever I had to do to eat. I made friends with a guy at Burger King while we were homeless, sleeping in our car. And what he would do is like, if you take a bite of a hamburger and you order it with no ketchup and you get ketchup and you take it back, well, with those sandwiches, as long as that person just only took one bite, we would cut the other part off and eat it. And that's the way we got fed. So sometimes he would give us like 4 or 5 hamburgers or chicken sandwiches or French fries. Sometimes he would reheat them. And that's how I survived. So it was all about no excuses. It was all about, you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You don't look back. And if you look back, you only use it for leverage and for fuel to keep yourself going, and you get out of those situations. So ultimately, when I got out of the situation, I started getting into personal development. My style was not no excuses. My style was to cater to everybody and make everybody happy. I wanted to save everybody because I was trying to save myself. In that journey of discovering who I really was, I went back to being who I really am, which is an outspoken, honest, heartfelt, loving, compassionate person for all human beings, to try to make this world a better place for who I am and what I do.
Wow. So much was happening inside of me while you were telling the story. That's the thing about purpose. If this happened to you while you were listening to Chris just now, say, yeah, I get it, or something in the comments. I want to know. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it was as if like you just like grabbed me by the collar and pulled me into the situation, because I guess you could kind of say they were like triggers, because when you said, "Oh, and the prostitutes," it took me back to when that was my life. And you know, let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
You're there. You guys are living out of a vehicle. How many cats?
18. And that's all we could catch. That's all we could catch. We actually got evicted from our house. The sheriff were going to show up, and we had all of our stuff on the front lawn. And my mom probably had over 35 cats in the house, all taken care of, all clean. I mean, it was crazy. I had cat litter box duty, so I took care of all the cat litter boxes and all that stuff. But that's all we could catch. So we actually went back to the house almost every night for a while, trying to find the other cats that we couldn't catch. We had 18 in the car, but she wanted to go back and try to get more.
So what do you think that was all about? You know, here you guys are trying, you're not really even taking care of yourself like you could or should, but then you have this empathy, you have this gift of service.
I do.
Back then though, why was your mom doing that with all those cats? Because how did you feed them?
That was the hierarchy. Every single day was cat food, dog food, cigarettes, beer, and then food for us. And there was plenty of times where, and I kid you not, I talk about being grateful for every meal I get. My wife says, "What do you want for dinner?" And this is like, how many years ago? I mean, I'm 52 now. This is back when I was 13 to 17. Every time somebody asked me what I want, I said, "I'm just grateful to eat." So I've carried that with me every single time, because a box of crackers, we get a box of crackers for under $1, and I would get a sleeve of crackers and I would eat half a sleeve and drink water. And that's what filled my stomach up. So I would eat the crackers and they would expand in my stomach. And that's what sometimes we ate. Or she would walk 10 miles to a church and get cheese and bread. And, you know, that's what we'd eat. But the hierarchy was really the animals and making sure that they were taken care of, making sure she had cigarettes. She had to have her cigarettes. And then it was me.
Did you ever fear that your mom, or both were going to end up dead?
Oh yeah.
Before you could get away from this?
Oh yeah. I thought for sure. She started messing around with the drug dealers and also being an informant to the cop. I'm like, we're gonna have our throats slashed. I mean, these people were cool people, because I got to know a lot of ex-cons, a lot of people that I got to know their behavior style of why they go back into jail. I had these 3 homeless guys, like, we go back into jail because it's safe. We know our friends in there. We can kind of get cleaned up for a while. We can come back on the streets, do what we need to do. We go back in. So I learned about what their psychology and their behavior was. And later in life, now I can sit there and say and understand them a little bit and be able to help them walk through that process. But for me, no, it was craziness. It was, I mean, like I said, I had almost got carjacked one time. I was also in fear of my mom killing herself. She would talk oftentimes about how many she was going to kill. I'm just going to kill myself. Even up until a point where I had to take the bullets out of the gun that she stole from the drug dealer. Oh, which I still have, but it's not
bullets
stolen.
Of the gun.
The gun. I don't know where the bullets are, but I have the gun because I had to take it from her because I was afraid she was going to blow her brains out and leave me to find her and be that kind of a bitch. Wow. And I can say that because she was not a very nice person. No.
So where's your mom today?
She passed away. Actually, the 31st of July was her 10-year anniversary of her passing. It was crazy. She made it to her 69th birthday, which was July 29th. And then 2 days later, coincidentally, we were moving into this house. We were leaving our other house. I never told her we were moving. And she passed away the morning we were moving here. And I didn't tell my friends that we were moving. I'd not gotten any sleep. My mom passed away. And everybody was like, for the first 4 or 5 hours, I was different. And then finally somebody said, "You okay, Chris?" And I can't lie to people. And I'm like, "Yeah, I just got some stuff on my mind." I didn't want them to be drugged down with it. And then finally some people say, "You don't seem right." And I said, "Well, you know, actually my mom passed away at 1:33 this morning." Like, and they knew my journey with her for the last 2 years of her life was insane again. So, I mean, her journey, I'm actually writing a book physically right now. It's called It's Just You and Me, Kid. It's a complete story of our life together and what I learned and what she learned and how we grew together and how we grew to understand each other. And more importantly, how I grew to understand myself and most other people in the human space, the human species. Wow.
Now get ready. Get ready. I can't wait. I just put a check mark by book because I know there's got to be at least 3 or 4 in the works. Because the story is just so riveting. Let get ready for this one. I bet you I'm the first one to ask you this, but I know you lived it because I did. Okay, everything you just told us about how you lived, and you know my backstory is the 22 mothers, you know, all those years in the foster system, 13 abusers, 7 suicide attempts, and a 14-year drug addiction. A lot of numbers in there. Yeah. But when I first started speaking, people that had been doing it for a while, and all of a sudden, because I mean, I was hitting it hard. I broke all kinds of records through Thumbtack. You know, 300 and some paid speaking gigs in the first year. 300, right? Damn. And so people were saying this. They didn't think I found out. Of course I did. Because, you know, people love to call and tell on people. You know what they're saying, right? But this is what pissed me off. People say, you know, the only reason that's that success that's happening to Lauren because he's got that poor pity me story. So you know what God did? He got Goldcast to find my one video on YouTube of that night I told that story. They picked it up, produced it. It has 22 million views today. So the haters created my Goldcast. They really did, because what it did was I was like gonna stop so I wouldn't have to tell that story anymore because I didn't want the pity. I didn't want to be the victim. So now I let Goldcast tell that story. I rarely bring it up. Talk about that. How people, did you go through that, Chris? When you started becoming successful speaking, people started thinking it was all about that trauma time, and it's not.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it was, I had my friends, you talk about your friends and your homies and your brothers who have your back supposedly. So here's an interesting situation. When I decided to leave my mom's situation, here's how the universe works. I believe that we get signposts, and I believe those signposts sometimes bash us upside the head and we don't necessarily realize it. So for me, I was getting these different
scar right here from one of them hitting me.
No doubt. I've got a few. And so I kept seeing these signposts, opportunities for me to go to school with other people. My grandfather wanted me to come live with him. I had lots of opportunities to leave my mom in that situation and go have, quote unquote, a normal life. It wasn't until when I decided that, okay, it was either going to be suicide or I'm going to go to jail or I'm going to leave here on my own accord. And when I started realizing that, I started embracing the fact, like, I'm going to have to leave my mom. I'm going to have to do the hardest thing because she's not going to get it. I'm going to be here for her always. I'm going to be her whipping boy. And at that point I was 17 years old. I mean, I'm starting to be a man. I've already gone through puberty. I've hardly dated, I've got all sorts of different things. I've got a lot of anger and aggression towards her for the decisions that she keeps making. And back to your point about the cats, as I started healing and trying to understand, I started getting in her mind and understanding where she was coming from, not from where I was coming from, trying to make her understand me and make her be my parent. I started taking responsibility. Like, how do I understand her better? Right. Even though I'm the kid and she should understand me, I started having that perspective. Like, let me understand other people first. And so when the situation came about, my friend and I, who is living at this motel with me, we went to work one day, and this is going to sound creepy, but we were doing telemarketing out of this guy's apartment in Huntington Beach. We were setting roofing contractor appointments, and then we had another nighttime telemarketing job. And because I had sat on the stairs that night and looked around, I was like, if I'm going to get out of here, I got to get out of here on my own. The universe, and I'm not a religious person, but I believe in universe, right. God, source, something I believe opens doors and opportunities when you're ready. And
that's
so
right.
because I had said that, here's the deal. So I go to work a couple of days later, and I'm like, not sure what's going on. I've already, had a shitty life. I'm just surviving, barely surviving. We go in there, and our boss, Norman Dodd, I'll never forget, he was a great guy. And he goes, well, guys, I got some good news and bad news. And I tell him, I said, well, Norman, I've had enough bad news to last a lifetime, right? Long hair, cigarette smoking, 7th grade dropout. I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, I know you guys are staying at this motel, and I know you've been homeless and da-da-da-da. He goes, so I want to leave you guys my apartment. I'm like, leave you?
What do you leave an apartment?
How do you leave an apartment? He goes, well, there's the bad news. And we're like, oh. And he goes, well, I'm going to move the operations to Dallas, Texas. He goes, but I love you guys so much. I want to leave you my first and my last. I just want to sign the apartment lease over to you so you guys can move in and have a month to figure out how you're going to make that month's rent. And me and Robert just looked at each other, because this was like the Taj Mahal. It was Huntington Beach, California, surf city. It had gated community, had a workout facility, had 2 pools. It was like nothing I'd ever lived in. And we were just like, we could do this. We could get you get brother, and we can get these, we get 4 or 5 guys in a 2-bedroom apartment. We can make this $850 a month of rent. I remember that. I can't imagine Huntington Beach is like that anymore.
And that was right.
And so that was 1980. That was 1987. So we were like, oh my God. And my first thought was, I can't leave my mom. And then something. 1987. You
were in Huntington Beach.
Yes.
And I was in Hollywood then.
Damn. See,
we were not that far from each other at the same time.
I used to cruise up to Hollywood, get into the clubs when I was underage. Yeah, it was great. I looked older. I always looked older than I was. So yeah, so I started debating and Robert was like, blah, blah, blah. And we're thinking about it. I'm like, God, I can't leave my mom. And we were actually thinking about how I could bring my mom there. We were trying everything, and it just wasn't going to work. And so Robert told me, he goes, dude, if you can't do it, I'm going to get Bob and da-da-da-da. And because Robert was 7 years older than me, I always hung around older people.
Me too.
And I was like, and I gave us some serious line. I was like, oh my God. And I went home. I went back to the motel that day, and my mom was being a super bitch. And like, whatever. I can't remember exactly what she was saying. And I was just like, it occurred to me. It was like, again, it was like this, Chris, you just had an open invitation to go start your life. Or you could sit here and hope, wish, and pray that something's going to change right here, right now. And it's not. So I told my mom, and I thought about it, and I was so scared. And I thought, you know what? And this is the God's honest truth. This is the God's honest truth, Lauren. I thought after everything we've been through, everything, I mean, so many different stories, I thought I would come to her and say, you know what, Mom, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but you know, I've got this opportunity. I want to go back to, I want to do something in my life. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. You know, and I thought she's going to say, you know what, Chris, I fucked up your life. I've screwed up your life 7 ways to Sunday. Never knew my biological dad. She was cheating around and doing stuff. I have a biological sister who I don't even talk to anymore. I mean, there's so much to the story.
I know.
And I sat there and I thought, she's going to tell me it's okay. She's going to say it's okay.
I remember that.
And so I went to her, and I remember she did something to piss me off, and I said, well, listen, I've got an opportunity to move out of here, and da-da-da-da. And that was, I kind of blurted it out. I didn't set it up the right way. And she's like, well, if you're going to leave here, and just, I mean, you want to talk about superlatives? You want to talk about big words? She started calling me every name in the book, screaming at the top of her lungs. I was like, I felt like I was 6 years old again. And she was about to beat the shit out of me because I wanted something for me. Because I was like, Mom, I'm going to die or go to fucking jail. That's it. Those are my two options. You know?
Right.
Keep taking care of you until something happens. You know, it's just, and so based on her reaction, I sat there and I thought about it again. And I tell people all the time, because they're like, you know, I'm in this and I don't want to make this decision. I don't want to hurt this person. I don't want to let them down. They're going to crumble if I leave. A lot of times they don't crumble. A lot of times they go, well, shit, now I have to get strong. Now, so by me making that decision, ultimately she did get strong. And now here's the key, Lauren. I left the motel. I did not leave my mom. I went back there every single night. I helped her. I gave her money. I gave her food. I helped her with the cats. I went back there every single night. My girlfriend will tell you, who became my first wife, who's still a dear friend of mine. She's like, you did more for your mom. And I don't remember a lot of that in our relationship. She's like, your mom would call you at the middle of the night and I need this. And you would get up and go do it. And so even after that point, I still went back and I still took care of her. But again, there became that progressive release of old behaviors and old paradigms that weren't working for me. So as she started doing things, I started saying, Mom, that's not the way. And the biggest shift happened for me, Lauren, was when I met my girlfriend.
Wait, that's where I want to go next.
Cool.
Biggest shift. Hold that thought right there. We're going to cut to commercial, because the question I was going to pose, but you already there. That's purpose, y'all. That's purpose. This intersection is divinely appointed. My question was, at what age, and I want you to think about this and tie it into where you were going. I think it's the one and the same.
Sure.
At what age do you feel you truly began to live? You know how it felt like, remember the swap over when you stopped investing in killing yourself, which is just maintaining that, because if you're not evolving, you're digressing, whether you realize it or not, and you decide to start pouring it into the gift of living. Think about that. Put it with that. I'm pretty sure it goes together. And when we come back, we're going to keep that up. Get your questions ready, everybody. We'll be back in just a moment after these commercial breaks. Don't go anywhere. It's just starting to get good. Okay, we're back. And before we get into this question of the hour with Christopher Rausch, our guest today, one last thing, one piece of business. Listen, if you want to get something good into your diet, into your life, do what I did. And so what if it happens through a sponsorship? It's still a good thing. Don't question the door. Just love it and get yourself some more. What I'm talking about is taking whatever is great and making it greater in your life. V8 has done that for me. I put away the Diet Coke, I put away the monster drinks, that sort of thing. And I picked this up because it's two full servings of vegetables. It is 60 calories per can, which is right inside the world I want to live in. And I feel great. So before you make that other decision where afterwards you have to go, oops, I had a V8, get down to your grocery store, find this in the juice aisle, and just try it. You won't regret it. V8, get your vegetables in a can today. Okay, so everybody's asking the same question out there. I went in and looked about the turning point. And, because a lot of people relate to the left side. A lot of people don't appreciate the right side because they don't think they're there yet. And they stay right there in the middle. And then they look at people who get through and they go, well, how did it work for them? How come why not me? And that's what I love about what I do the most. Going in and telling people, look, if I'm standing here, I shouldn't be. But yes, I should, because I was meant to be. Take us through it. It's all yours.
No, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. In answer to your question, when did I really start living my life? What age? There's two different aspects of that because of what I had been through up until the point of 17 years old. Totally inhibited, totally controlled, totally manipulated. Everything about my being was catering to everybody else and doing what everybody else wanted me to do so I could get that validation because I never had that.
So even you were a people pleaser, you say?
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, massively, massively. I pleased everybody else except for myself. That sounds kind of crazy. I actually did that too, but we'll talk about that later. On another bathrobe moments later. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, but seriously. So after that, there was a couple of phases of my life, and the phase that I talk about right after that was the explosive phase, the crazy phase. So now I started getting around a bunch of people who we started having parties. I started being able to see girls. I started having my own life and really taking control of that. And I got around a bunch of people, like I said, who were older than me. And so they were partying. And at that point, I only drank and I smoked pot and I smoked cigarettes. So I was
How old were you here?
I was 17, I was about 17 years old when I left.
That was a real turnstile period.
17 to 18 was absolutely pandemonium because I literally left my mom's situation, left being homeless, got into another situation where I was partying and I was still working and meeting people and just having this other life, but still going back to that old life that I was trying to leave behind. And then I got sucked into the new thing about being popular. I had long hair. It was the 80s, Motley Crue, Poison, Bon Jovi. And all of a sudden I went from being not popular to being super popular and getting girls and getting friends and all this other stuff. And it wasn't until in that excess, I started losing myself again because I was like, oh, wow, there's all these things to take my pain away. And this. And it was like, oh, man, I'm numb. And I remember the first time I did ecstasy, my mom needed me to do something and I didn't care. I was like so happy. I'd never been that happy before in my life. And I remember on the phone with her on a payphone saying, yeah, mom, tough. You're going to have to figure it out. Because I was just so like, whatever. Woo. I just hung up. I was in a good place. I was like,
bye, buzzkill.
Give me more of this stuff. And
I remember that, going to raves.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we did so much stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm glad we did. I'm glad I did it.
Fruit stripe gum and the little lollipops. You remember at raves and water, right?
Oh, I remember my friend he used to do himself in black leather latex, and we would go to some of these clubs, these X clubs and stuff like that. And I'd still be long hair rocker, heavy metal dude, and I'd be walking around. He's all latexed up and doing this shit, and I was like, I'm gonna go sit in the car, man. This stuff's not for me. I'm a metalhead at that point. But so here's the thing. Here's the big shift that happened. I met somebody who had more belief in me, more faith in me than I ever had in my life combined. And this gentleman looked at me one day and he said something that changed my life. So much so that I'm about to get it tattooed on my arm because now his family has told me to say this quote. But he looked at me one day, and this is my girlfriend's dad. He's the president of a trucking company. He's upper middle class. His daughter is, upper middle class in high school. She's, super, super popular. I'm the other guy on the other side of the tracks.
Right.
And he looks at me and he says, Christopher, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. And I had never had anybody give me the opportunity to think outside the box that everybody else created for me.
The permission.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I never had that. I was like told what to do constantly told what to do. And he says, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. And so I started thinking about it. He says, what do you think about going back to school? And I laughed at him. I was like, are you crazy? I've been out since the 7th grade. In the 7th grade, and I tell people this, I think being homeless and going through this adventure, I call it, was probably better for me than where I was at, because when I was in the 7th grade, I went from being bullied in the 6th grade to being a bully in the 7th grade. So again, I switched and I started beating people up. I started getting into fights. I started smoking pot, during class, all this different stuff. So I was on a bad trajectory. And so when this gentleman tells me, he goes, Christopher, you should go back to school. I'm like, dude, I'm stupid. I mean, literally, my mom told me I was stupid. You're stupid. Shut up. You should be seen and not heard.
See, I was told that too. That's why that trigger with the Excel spreadsheet, I didn't see it coming. I thought all the corners had been swept out. There were no cobwebs, no crumbs. And then just like that, go on.
You can still have those. And so I was just like, no, there's no way. But something snapped in my mind and said, you know what? You've been believing what everybody else has said about you up until this point. Why not believe the positive stuff too? And so I sat there and I took stock, and I'm like, this girl really digs me. She knows what I've been through. She loves me and supports me and buys me food and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, wow. If I want more of this, then perhaps I should take the advice of the person who's successful sitting in front of me instead of the people who are not successful. So because I liked his daughter, I loved his daughter. And I was like, all right, you want me to go back to school? Here's what we'll do. I'll just go. And again, it's that one foot in front of the other. I didn't judge it. I said, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to make a laughing stock out of myself. Then you're going to leave me alone. That's literally what I thought. So I went, and he didn't do anything for me. I had to go find a high school. He said, you can get this GED thing. And I was like, okay. And I picked up the good old fashioned phone, push button, down to school, went there, and they said, okay, we're going to give you a test and we're going to see where you are. And then based on that, we're going to give you coursework so you can get your GED. And I'm like, okay, this is going to take me 10 years. I literally thought this is so stupid. This is a waste of my time. I take the test. They call me back a week later and they say, Chris, you only need 3 classes. What? And what was weird, dude, is my mom told me I was stupid, but she also told me that I was so smart. She says, you have a high IQ and all this other stuff. It was weird. This juxtaposition thing always screwed me up. And I was like, wow, I only need 3 classes. So I went to school for 3 months, I think it was. And then I took the test again and I graduated, and I got the piece of paper. And here's the screwed up thing, dude. I showed my friends. My friends thought I was stupid. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing good things for myself. I'm getting smarter, and I'm trying to get my life together. And you guys think I'm stupid. Now this guy I barely even know is pouring into me saying that I'm smart and is recommending. So I went back and I said, listen, I got the paper.
Right.
I thought he's going to say, good boy, Chris. Now I'll leave you alone. And he says, he looks at me, now about college. I'm like, dude, we make ketchup and lettuce sandwiches. I'm working 2 jobs. I have 4 guys sleeping in an apartment. You want me to go to school? You don't get it. You don't get what life on the streets is like. I'm sitting there coming up with all these explanations and all these excuses. But again, I was like, you know what? This guy is successful. And it seems like he really cares about me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your belief, and I'm going to go. And I remember I went to Golden West Community College in Huntington Beach. And I remember walking up there. I remember being in the parking lot and seeing all these college people and just going, I don't fit in. I've dug in trash cans. I've slept in abandoned vans. I've pooped in buckets and garages. And all these people are like, oh, hey. And they went to high school and had their prom. And I'm like, I don't fit in. I get chills thinking about it.
Right.
And I just one foot in front of the other, walked in the door, walked up to the counter, and I said, hi, I'm not sure how this works, but I'd like to go to school here. What do I need to do? I'm so great. Come with me. And I sat there for 3 or 4 hours, like buying a car, picked out classes, and it was like $13 a unit and And I spent the money. It was like $50 or $60 to do the books and everything. And I was scared. And I was like, oh my God, what am I? And I went back and I showed him. I said, listen, I'm going to school. And he says, great. And he goes, maybe I'm thinking about giving you a job. And so I went from working 2 telemarketing jobs to he gave me a job as a night billing operations guy, working in a trucking company 60 miles away. So he didn't give me anything. I had to drive to, so it was crazy. But from that
didn't make it easy.
No. But here's the beautiful part. All my quote unquote friends and my homies are like, oh, you're going to school and you're being a smart guy. Oh, you're going to use your story. Everybody's going to feel sorry for you because you were homeless, to your point. And I was like, what? I don't care about that stuff. I didn't even tell anybody. Honestly, I didn't tell anybody about me being homeless. I didn't tell anybody hardly that story at all. Only the people that knew me from the motel. Otherwise, I made up my life. Amen. If I met people in public, I made up my life, everything. And so through that process, I got to know a different part of myself. So I got into excess. I got into drinking and having an alcohol issue, not becoming an alcoholic, but becoming close. And so in answer to your real question of when I really started to live was when I decided to break down all the excuses, break down all the bullshit, break down and really understand where I'm coming from and who I'm supposed to be in this life, and not try to be anybody for anybody else, just be for myself.
Right.
And when I started doing that, and I started owning my space in this world and my voice in this world, and that's when the universe started saying, okay, more. And so I wound up getting my AA degree. I wound up going back, getting my bachelor's degree. I wound up going back. I said, fuck this. I'm going to get my master's degree because I want to be a homeless 7th grade dropout with a master's degree who goes back and speaks in front of thousands of people and changes the world. And I made that my mission, and God is my witness. I'm here today. I'm actually going to be speaking in Cancun, Mexico in October.
See, that's the shit I'm talking about. I got to cuss. That was great. I was like, oh, you almost missed an opportunity because tomorrow might be a minister on here. You know what I'm saying? So, these are the moments I love the most. Those ones when you find yourself, especially when you're big talkers like us, you know what I'm about to say. When you get there and you go, man, I don't even have the words. I'm speechless. That's because certain things, they have not created words that are adequate enough to express what it is actually making you feel. And that's what I love about it. I don't try to pull any old turd word out and put it in there just to satisfy someone's need for proof of concept. Right. If you want the proof of the concept, get in here and live it. Live it. It is there for all of us. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I stood on the outside looking through the windows of other people's lives, peeking in like a peeping Tom, wondering why don't these kinds of things happen to kids or people like me? And it was when I decided to make it happen for me. We got a couple questions for you. Christopher Casson says, where do you feel that you could push yourself better currently since the journey never really ends? And what is the area that you believe most people never pay enough attention to when they really should be paying attention to it? So what do you say to that?
Let's see. I'm going to take the second part of that question first. So remember the first part. The second part of the question is what people don't pay attention to the most that I think is their own self-language, the words they use on themselves. It's so incredible. It's so incredible that people will sit there and I'll watch them in conversation. I'm like, oh, so how do you feel about that person? Oh, that person deserves this, person deserves that. And, you know, And I'm like, well, how do you talk to yourself? Well, you know, it's always going to be hard, or I've never been able to do that. It's like the first thing we can do is change the way we talk to ourselves.
That's right.
We have to stop. We have to, I tell people to use a rubber band. I've had one person tell me that's self-mutilation, by the way.
That snapping thing.
Oh yeah. So if you catch yourself talking negative, like, oh, I won't be able to do that. Snap that and say, you know what? I'll be able to do that or perhaps I'll be able to do that if I dedicate myself to studying, if I get a coach, so it's like, no, I can't do that. If you fill yourself with that, no, you can. It's an opportunity for you to shift your language. And there's a great book out there called What Not to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the author's name, but What Not to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it's amazing how when we shift those things that we say to ourselves, the universe again hears that and says, okay, listen, you are changing the trajectory of your life because you are reprogramming your mind to have opportunities instead of roadblocks and limitations, because it's all just in our brain. Again, going back to what Bill said, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind.
That's right. You know, I'm so glad to hear someone validate this. And this is what I mean, you guys, about the promise of when two or more come together. Things that you think is only you. I must be crazy. No one else feels this way. I always start my coaching clients about the first thing we do is beginning the process of eradicating from our vocabularies words that deceive. There are thousands of them. When you're in the middle of some shit, remember all those days back then, you tell people, look, but I don't want to why don't you just get over it? And then they say, oh, you know, one day you'll find a way around this. Oh, you'll dig yourself from underneath this. That is wall talk. That's what you do when you're facing walls. My universe doesn't put walls in front of me to evolve through. They put doors and windows in front of me because that's why they're called doors of opportunity, windows of opportunity. I've never heard of a wall of opportunity. So now when somebody tells me get over your ass, that's what you get over, because I ain't playing that. I'm going through because I can look through the window of opportunity and then open the door and go through. Because, you know, we go through something. Now we know something because we're automatically in authority. Now, the first thing, when you know you've gotten it right, if there's still more crumbs you need to go sweep up, this doesn't happen. But when you get it all cleaned up and you're ready and you are a legitimate authority, you've lived through it. Next thing you want to do, you can't wait to get out and show somebody else there's a way out. Now, listen, this one, I just want to say, I'm going to throw it to you and you can take us all the way home today. But that thing about, if you want to live the life that was created specifically for you, your soul came here to fulfill this evolving period, to go from A to B, B to C. The thing about it is, don't buy into that thing. Oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, if your ass is in somebody else's tunnel, because that's the only way there could be light at the end. Somebody already dug it. When you're doing something that's never been done, showing the world something they've never seen, you got to dig it. But where's my light? It's right here. Google what a miner looks like. The light is here. So every place they turn, the light is with them and they are with the light, because we are the light. We are one. So if you find yourself looking for the end of the tunnel, don't be surprised when you get there. There ain't shit for you on the other side, because that person dug it. They took all their shit with them, like they should have. Now go back and start digging. I don't care if you got to use your teeth, use your fingernails, because as soon as you start doing that, knees get bloody and blistered and all that, the calluses, you're going to find, well, what's this thing right here? Wait, a spoon. I forgot I had this spoon. Now you start using what you have, because when you didn't need it, it fell in the cushions. You put it in the junk drawers of your life. When you get into these times that we're talking about here, that's when you learn what you really are capable of, right or wrong. So Christopher, tell us how you help people and I'm going to show them on the screen without interrupting, what kind of people you work with, because I can't work with some people. I send straight to therapy. You don't need coaches. You need therapy. I'm in therapy. I ain't ashamed to say it. Go stay in there. Married a therapist, because I knew it had to be either a plastic surgeon or a therapist. One out of two ain't bad. So tell us how you help people, and what kind of people can you help? Because you can't help everybody.
No, I that's another part of my journey that I've gone through as far as being a people pleaser. And that's where I came up being the no excuses coach, because I used to want to coach everybody. I actually started coaching. After watching the movie Pay It Forward with Haley Joel Osment, I thought, oh, I can take my trash, make it treasure, and I can go back and coach other people for free, taking what I've been through and making a bigger purpose and a bigger impact in life. And so I started this Pay It Forward coaching. And what it was is I would coach you for free, but you would go do 3 nice things for complete strangers and come back and tell me about it. So it was this way, like I give and then you go give. And so what I found out, Lauren, here's the thing. I thought it was my coaching that was helping people, but really the key differentiator in that was when they were going to help other people, they realized that they had more than they realized. So when we go to give to other people, that is such a great gift to be able to see where we're actually at. So in my situation, who I help the people that are comfortably miserable, who were like myself. I was in a corporate job. I made good money. I had a good staff. I had a good office. I had a decent commute. Everything was good enough. But when you think about this life and you think about what we get to experience and the choices and the freedom that we have, do you want good enough on your tombstone? No, I want kick-ass unstoppable. I want the guy who made a difference. He came in here making waves and caused me to think differently. He shook me out of my comfort zone. So I work with people who are in that stage. They're happy, but they're not fulfilled. And so what I do is we take their micro excuses, because I'm the no excuses coach. We take those micro excuses and they may be happy in 4 areas of their life, but there's one area where they're not fulfilled. What I do is we break that down. We figure out where that is so they have complete fulfillment, complete authenticity to break down old beliefs and get them to where it is they need to go. That's essentially what I do. So we take the no excuses approach and I help guide them to shift their perspectives. This is what it is. And when you shift your perspective about your past, present, and your future, and again, you just make that delineation to say, life happened for me. Because when I look back, Lauren, I don't want to repeat any of that stuff, but you know this as well as I do. I'm so grateful I went through that, because it made me the man I am today. And so now I look at future obstacles as opportunities for growth. No, I'm not going to look forward to potentially my cat dying. I'm not going to look forward to potentially whatever's going to go on in the world. However, I know that I'm resilient and strong enough that whatever's going to present itself, just like when I was digging through garbage cans, just like when I got my master's degree, just like when I bought my first house, just when I adopted my son, just when I started my new business, everything, you figure it out. It becomes exciting. It's like when we're kids, 5-year-old Lauren and 5-year-old Chris, we're excited about doing new stuff. All right, let's go try it. But when we're adults, we're like, oh, is that safe? Are people going to think of me? It's like, no, go live your life. That's what I teach people, is to live their life on their terms and not to be apologetic about it. It's like, it's not any harm or foul. There's sometimes when you continue to grow, you're going to outgrow the people that you're with. And sometimes you have to have those tough conversations to say, hey, listen, I appreciate you and you're on your journey. You're comfortably miserable. I'm going to go live my life. And so I have a tattoo on my arm that says, what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. And I got that 6 or 7 years ago. So you would think that after everything I'd been through, I'm already resilient, but I started going through another dark period in my life. And so I always say this, I say every day is a new day, and what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So I went out and I tattooed it on my forearm.
See?
And I was like, this is what I have to remember. The next tattoo is going to say moments, because when we're living in a moment, we're in this moment right now, which I am with you. That's what creates an amazing life. We're so often in the past wishing it was different, or hoping and wishing and praying that's going to be different in the future. And we're just trying to survive this moment. And that's not living, that's existing.
That's
so I teach you how to live.
That's settling. And I just want to say this as we get out of here. You're saying how you're going to get you showed the one tattoo, now you're going to get the next one. And what that means is, and all these other things that you said, just spot on, that, in order, whatever you do, when you are doing your best, as the 4 agreements dictates, when you're doing your best, here's what happens. You automatically take great to greater, bright to brighter, strong to stronger. But you must do things that you mean in order for them to become meaningful for others. You have to mean it. You have to mean it with everything in you, willing enough to have it permanently put where, and I believe in that, because I believe in putting things in places where they can wait for me when I can't show up for myself. You see, when I'm at the top and I'm feeling like you see all the things happening, I don't just post that stuff. I go into my books and stuff, and I get paper clips and I get things, because I'm like, that thing, if it was it's always been fighting since we were kids. Why would it work so hard to stop us from becoming adults, from getting to where we are? Because it's afraid of what we're going to do. It's always been afraid. So I just want to say this, and I'm going to say this as we get out of here. I am so grateful for today. I was feeling some kind of way all through this. Why? Because, I have a masterclass out right now. When I watched it back, I actually bonded with the battered, destroyed Lauren, the boy. He sits on that same bed where the first abuser came at me. That's where he's always been, as I revisited him through the decades. But this time we came together and became complete again. And I want to tell you something. What I was experiencing when I was dropping my head, you guys, was the blessing of a law of attraction and the intersections of life. All the time now, I have no shortage of meeting people where if we were garments, we'd check our tags, go, oh, look, we both came from the same factory. But today, yet again, another promise is fulfilled, where I know when I look at my tag and you look at yours, and I peek and I can see it, because all I have to do is look into your soul, and I can see that not only are we from the same factory, we were actually cut from the same bolt of cloth. The same bolt of cloth. Because when you were saying things about the kid thing, it took me back there instantly, and I was empowered, because I was like, here's another one that made it out. Because when you're in there, you think no one in the world cares. No one in the world can see you. And I can see it now in other kids. You can too. When you go and you speak and you look at that one kid and they're looking at you, and you can just almost telepathically say to them, be encouraged. Keep getting back up. I promise you, it'll change. If I was one of those church people who could speak in tongues, I'd have to scream Hasa Babaka. Because I'm just telling you, I better quit out there saying whatever. But I'm just saying, I am just so over. I'm flowing. It's just pouring out of me right now, out of my pores. It's to a cellular level, and I'm so excited. You guys, here is on the screen one of the pathways to continue the dialogue with Christopher. And if IG is your jam, here it is at Christopher Ruff right there. Christopher, this went way too fast. I don't know why I haven't known you before now, but I'm glad I do now. You really poured into me today. I am not kidding you. You really poured into me today, and I am so grateful, and I accept it. I receive it, and I hope the same has happened for each of you. Chris, here's your Jerry Springer moment. Let's say if the world were put on mute for one moment,
sure,
and you had everyone's attention, how would you make use of that time, and what would you stick into that space where everyone could hear it?
Wow. Well, before I answer that question, I have to tell you something. You talk about being cut from the same cloth. As an interviewer, as having 2 shows myself, the Raw and Unscripted show and the Unfiltered Experience show, that's something I do. As I say, if you had a microphone to the world, what would you say? And that's usually my last question. Sometimes it's like, if you had a microphone to kids or whatever it is. So it's funny you should ask that. My biggest message to everybody, honestly, is this: we are more the same than we are different.
Amen.
And when you seek first to understand, then to be understood, that's where the magic happens. Because had I not sought to understand my mom, had I not sought to have empathy and forgiveness for what she had been through before I came along, to understand her path and her journey, to be able to have that understanding for her to say, you know what, you did the best you could with what you had. She was going to place me for adoption and she decided not to. That's why the name of the book is It's Just You and Me, Kid, because that's what she said to me. She's like, we're going to be on welfare. We're going to, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it. It's just going to be you and me, kid. So my message to everybody, especially in this time of what's going on with COVID and everything else, my message to you is to take this opportunity to look within and determine where it is that you're going, not where you've been, not where you are, but where it is that you're going, and think about that legacy and think about that end game, what it is that you want to be remembered for, how you want to be your life, and start working backwards. And make sure of all things, have a team, have somebody in place that's going to hold you accountable, a best friend that if you say, hey, do I look fat in these jeans? They say, yeah, you're fucking fat. You need to go work out.
Hell yeah. Right.
You want friends like that. You know what? No, you're just big bone. No, I'm not. I'm lazy and I eat bonbons. You want people like that in your life, guys, because if I didn't have people in my life that held me accountable, if I didn't have coaches and mentors, I would not be sitting in front of you today. I would be sitting at a corporate job, miserable as hell, hoping, wishing, and praying that something would change someday. And it only changes when we decide that we deserve better. And the biggest question that I've had people answer lately is, do you love yourself? Yes or no? And I have found more times than Lauren, and you know this, a lot of people struggle with loving themselves. So it starts there. You have to love yourself. You have to get around the right people that love and support you and get you to where you need to go. You need to have belief and faith. And you have to understand that you're going to have to eat shit. That it's taken you this long to get to where you're at in your life. There's no magic pills. It's not going to go away in 3 months. It might take you 5 years of struggling and sacrificing and discipline and everything.
Not even that, more.
That 6 year, you can look back and go, I did it. I made it. This is what I'm made of. Yeah, it's all within everybody else's grasp. And one gift I want to give to your listeners, if they want to, they can go ahead and hit me up in the DMs, wherever. I'll give them a complimentary coaching session. Just my way of saying thank you for being here. Because I want everybody to have that opportunity to set forth in their life, to have a new frame of mind and what it is that's possible. So again, you guys are only limited by the parameters of your mind. Lauren, it's been a pleasure to be with you. I look forward to more conversations, having you on my show. And thank you guys, the audience, for your questions and your engagement. I'll go back and check on those after the show's over. But man, it's been a true honor. We'll definitely be having more conversations.
We sure will. And that was just beautiful. Thank you. Spot on. All the way through, from the rooter to the tutor. And I want to say this as we get out of here. When I was sitting here just now listening to your closing remarks, Christopher, I remember when I watched my masterclass back for the first time, and it was the shortest module of the 12, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And when I was finished watching it, the universe laid a bunch of like GPS grids with streets, and when the traffic was red and yellow, and breakdowns and recalculations, all in one long stack, like I was at the top of a skyscraper looking down through them all. And they said, what you're looking at now, Lauren, are all the days and all the experiences that it took. This is 47 years, 6 months, but it took 47 years and 6 months for us to get what we needed for this 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And so I want you to know that everything you have lived, everything you are today, and everything you could ever hope to be is already here. The purpose is already here. Stick with it. Believe in today, and you'll find your way directly into tomorrow. Meet me tomorrow, God willing, right here on the front steps, and we'll do it again for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments. My guest tomorrow is Jillian Sandoval. She's a master coach, a retreat. She specializes in doing things to help women become better versions of themselves. So she's going to be here. So happy to have her. And Christopher, sit tight in the green room for a second. I want to holler at you about something. And now, you guys, here's the commission. Here is the call to action. I'm not going to give you a mountain to climb other than the one that is yourself. Here it is. Get out there today. I don't care what it is, a situation, a person. The next thing you run into today, leave it better than the way you found it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. God bless you, and be the blessing you want to see in the world. Thank you. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, Christopher. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, guys. You guys rock.